we will have a select committee on infectious diseases, and that will take place at Charles Drew University of Medicine and Science. And so it's important that we, one, talk about the infectious diseases that still exist, that's still part of our atmosphere, making sure that people receive the information, and also, rally around. We will have authoritative doctors and healthcare professionals who will be part of the panel discussion. And hopefully we'll come out of that discussion with a real plan on part of my agenda for 2022. We hope to be able to have other select committees throughout the entire year. I'm on a number of different committees, but these are the ones that I chair, and I'm very, very grateful that Speaker Anthony Rendon has given me the opportunity to chair these high-profile committees, so that, one, we can have a very robust conversation in trying to reach some real solutions. Crime is also very relevant and prevalent in my district, and so one of the things I will be having is a conference, a one-day conference, and it may not be enough time to cram a real conversation on how do we decrease crime, whether it's gun violence or gang violence in my community. We're attempting to try something we never tried before and implement something we never implemented before moving forward. But the ultimate goal is that we want to see a real decrease when it comes down to gun violence in my community. We want to see through the data where there's a real decrease when it comes down to gang violence in my community. And so we want to bring the experts, the boots on the grounds, the gang interventionists, and law enforcement, our clergy, loved ones who've lost loved ones due to gun violence and gang violence. And we want to have a roundtable discussion with all of these invested individuals, because there's something that we're not doing because these things are still steadily increasing. It is off the chart. We don't understand why. This pandemic, you would think that we live in a pandemic that we would have a record decrease when it comes down to gun violence and gang violence, but it's increased. Right now, the Los Angeles Police Department is asking for more additional money so they can hire more additional officers on the street. So I push back on a narrative that we should defund the police, because we cannot defund the police, because what that means is communities of color, in which I represent, will be left vulnerable. It will mean that people will die at a high rate if we don't have law enforcement in our community. We still want to create transparency and accountability, but we want to make sure that our communities are in fact secure and safe. Because again, last point, we cannot afford to have our private security to come and police my community, like Beverly Hills can. When something goes off, something goes wrong, when a man's Rolex watch, get this, when a man's Rolex watch is taken in broad daylight and robbed in broad daylight in Beverly Hills, what do? They increase Beverly Hills police on the streets, and then they hire security companies to patrol blocks and blocks in Beverly Hills. But when someone's Timex watch gets stolen in Watts or Compton, nothing. You hear crickets. We don't have the resources to bring our own private security company to patrol every street. So it will create an unfair a disadvantage in our community if we defund the police.
Yeah, well put. Especially, that's something Governor Newsom touched on yesterday, something that needs to be looked at, kind of the rise in crime and violent crime. So thank you for looking into that. It should be interesting results.
Absolutely. Thank you.
One thing you touched on earlier was this survey you did. You've always done a great job kind of reaching out to your community, getting a sense of what your community wants. Kind of what's the feedback you've gotten from your recent survey results, and kind of what are your priorities next year coming out of it?
We just sent out the survey. And so we'll continue to send it out until the end of December to our residents. And then we've gotten 6,000-7,000 back over, over a period of time. We send out every year, and every year we've gotten about a 20% or so return, people weighing in. And we analyze it, and we characterize it, and we prioritize. And public safety, Jared, let me simply say public safety has been at the top of the list, really? Right? And so we have to we can't turn away from that. People feel that it's unsafe. And so we have to create an opportunity and create policies that speaks to this very this very topic. And then also jobs was another one. And I'm just trying to think off the top of my head from last year. And then there's healthcare. Is another topic in which people are most concerned with. And it's also education, making sure that we have, some of the best educational institutions, not just universities, not just community colleges, but also high school and middle school and elementary school, right? We just passed where 4-year-olds can go to kindergarten free of charge in public schools. We just passed money in order for that to take place. Why? Because we want to start children off early, but we also want to make the environment safe for them as well.
Make sure you just click the button below and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can keep up with all our news and updates.